Hi, my name is Juan Pablo Lopez. I'm here to talk about how to configure LiteLLM with Cloud Code in order to use MAAS solution of Huawei. Um, we need to have an ECS with an elastic IP in order to have access to internet, and also preferably a Linux distro like Ubuntu 2404. Um, Previously, I created this. LiteLLM is essentially a compatibility and routing layer for LLM models. Its utility for models like Anthropic's Claude and DeepSeek and others is that it gives you one consistent interface across many providers instead of writing separate integration of each API. In relation with MAAS Huawei solution, we have even more advantages because we have a store, as you can see, of models, and we can use call inference API based on the URL, like you can see in this step. Let's start. First, we need to verify that we have installed a node. As you can see, I have installed right now a node, a version 20. In case I don't have a node, we could use these scripts in order to configure. Also, we need to install a Claude from Anthropic. Here we have a command in order to install Claude. I already executed the command, as you can see. Here I already have installed Cloud Code. For our second step, we need to have an API key from our Huawei Cloud account. We search for MAAS service at the Cloud Console, and here we go to API key management. We have our API keys, and we use one for this example. I'm going to use the default configuration of this guy, like you can see in the next steps. For the case of the API URL. Let's continue. We need to create a virtual environment, Python virtual environment, like you can see. I already install and activate this virtual environment. Sometimes we need to install a Python in order to create a virtual environment. Like you can see here, I already configured this. Also, we need to install LiteLLM. As you can see, I also already installed LiteLLM in order to make this tutorial quickly, very fast. And then we need to create a config file. As you can see, I am over the LiteLLM directory, and if I list over this directory, I already have configured these two files. You can create these files using Touch, and then with an editor like V or Nano, you can modify the empty file with that name. So let me share the configuration. As you can see here, is the same configuration like here, but I selected exactly this value. This value can be arbitrary. and I selected this, like you can see here. Also, we need to create an init cloud environment script in order to initialize environment variables for the bash. Here, also you need to modify the SK key that you create, or what key, the key you selected the step before, and you need to put the API from the Huawei cloud of your account. Here I also configure this. Let me clear. As you can see here, I have the configuration right now. The key I selected arbitrarily the last step, and my API. The remaining parameters, I put them with the default value, and you can see here a brief description of each parameter. And finally, we can start the LiteLLM. I won't execute this command because I am already over the Python environment, and also I created that folder. So we also need to execute these two commands. Here we need to put also the ports. Let me clear here and put correctly the command. As you can see here, it's working LiteLLM, but we need to verify that it's correctly working. Following the next steps, we can verify this. For example, if I open other terminal here, and I execute this command, we expected to see I am alive. As you can see, it's working nice. LiteLLM. Let's continue with the tutorial. The idea is to use LiteLLM with Cloud Code. So we need to execute in other terminal this command. Or also we can execute here. Let me verify the root to the and if I am in the right folder, I could execute this command. Okay, finally we execute Claude, we can select the mode that you prefer, and here we are over Cloud Code. Let's verify with what model are we working here, and by default we are working with Claude 3.5 Haiku. Let's use this for the moment. We can see here how to change the model. You could see the configuration file like this, and here we have these three models. Also, in order to have access, here I selected DeepSeek V4 Flash, and as you can see here, I can use DeepSeek. Also, I can switch to other model like DeepSeek version 3.2. And here we have how to use the configuration, how to use the models that we configure over the configuration file. In addition, we also can use tools like you can see right now.
Sin embargo, creo que a revisar el detalle. Esta una pregunta, pues, y es la siguiente. Estas características,
we need to give him confirmation,
pero no está
and let's verify that the model is working nice. As you can see here, the model created this empty file with name text.txt. And correctly is an empty file.